Hi, this is a birthday journal. I made this for my very special daughter who's having a birthday the end of this month. This is a junk journal, and I used a watercolor, a mixed media painting that I did on watercolor paper, so it's heavy. It's the 140-pound cold pressed watercolor paper, and I had done this a long time ago, just experimenting with some different techniques. So I did a little last minute doodling on it with some gel pens, and then I decided just to gesso it. It has a nice thick layer of gesso on it. I did go back and forth about putting something else on it or doing some more work or putting some words on it, stamping something, but you know what, I just kept looking at it going, you know what, it pleases me just the way it is. It's calming rather than too busy. So I think when I looked at it from afar, it was just perfect. And it measures 11 by 7, and it was from a 11 by 14 piece of paper. And I did a pamphlet stitch, which you can't see too well, but it's covered up by sari ribbon, silk sari ribbon that I ordered on eBay from India. So this is the original stuff, straight from India, jewel tones, just like I like it. Very beautiful. I just love this. And it just was perfect for this journal. And then I made 3 little dangles. 1, 2, and the third one's hiding somewhere. Where did you go? 1, 2, 3. And I just made these out of beads. They are some precious stones, some glass beads, just things I've had for a long time. I used to do quite a bit of jewelry, and I did work with precious metal clay, and this is a fine silver charm that I made, and I just was going through my stuff and found it. And it looks like, how clear that is, but it looks like a little sort of mother-child image, sort of abstract kind of impression. So I thought that was perfect. And then this is a little goddess charm that I've had for a really long time. Sorry about my shaking hands. I just got tremors. This was something I found again in my stash. I've had for years, ages and ages. And again, some lapis, some different precious metal and glass beads. So that's what's on here as dangles, and I really like them. I live in a very rural, small town, so I don't have access to any of the main craft stores. So all the beads and ephemera and stuff that people have, I just sort of make up and make do. This is a polymer clay bead that I made. Again, I used to do a lot of work in polymer clay when my hands and arms were stronger, and this was something I made. You stamp an impression. This is actually a leaf stamp. And then I just rubbed a little bit of gold paint on it to give it some highlight, and another little glass bead, and it's sewn on here as a little dangle. And then this was just some of the ribbon that I braided to make the closure. Nothing fancy, but that's sort of the way I am. Nothing fancy. More, again, I think I've said this, I think I'm just more of a sort of old hippie. So this is really in its original form, which is nice. I mean, these are things that I've made. They've got my love and spirit in them, and I'm passing them on to my daughter. So this is, again, just plain the way it was. I splashed watercolor on, trying different things. I hadn't done a lot of work in watercolor before, and I was just having fun experimenting. So it's perfect. This is a little tag that I made watching some of you other folks on video and YouTube and stuff. And so this was an old tag I'd had for a long time. I didn't really like it. It was just playing around. And I sort of dabbed it with gold paint. Some little buttons I dabbed with gold paint. Some paper towel that's stained with coffee and tea dyed lace. This is, I did some jelly printing with my 4-year-old granddaughter, and did it on deli paper. So I made a little ribbon with the deli paper. So that's what that is. And then again, this is just another piece of a jelly printing, something I was experimenting on, and on the back I did a little stamp, so that's in here. And then there's just some old book pages, and then another piece of writing paper. Now I don't buy pattern paper because, number one, that's not my thing. I don't really care for that. But I did go to a thrift store and I found a packet of odds and ends and pieces for, like, I think $1.50 or something. I couldn't pass it up. So I am using a little bit of pattern paper in here that you'll see. It's a first for me. Here's a little, I've done lots of little tuck spots for her to make little notes and things. And this is just some tea-dyed paper that I folded up with a little, I used a lot of that ribbon throughout here. That's why I got it. Here's a little stamp that I made. And just again, so this was some paper I got from a thrift store. It's a heavy duty, like craft paper. I think it was from an old photo album. So it's got a really nice heavy texture to it. And I jelly printed, this is a stamp I made, and I jelly printed on it. And then I put a lot of quotes in here. Today, you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you, Dr. Seuss. We like quotes, and I picked out some of her favorites, and these are things from childhood, growing up, that I know she likes. Again, this is jelly printing paper from a long time ago, and I just put it in here because she's my precious daughter. And she's got I've got two little grandchildren. She's got two little daughters. This is some tape she gave me. She's been collecting trash for me. I did quite a bit of sewing on here, lots of lace throughout, and just, again, really junky, stapled in. This is the back of a tea box. It's for tabs. It's got a nice design on it. This is, I make my own masks and stencils when I'm jelly printing. I'm on a really tight budget, so I make everything. And this is a quote that I found that I printed out a while ago. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path, by Buddha. So this is we're bordering on a little bit of pagan spirituality in our family. So I did a lot of different goddess images that I made stencils and masks, and I really like how they turned out. This is, again, just some journaling spots. This is more coffee dyed paper, a little bit of inking, using stencils just to create a pretty design. Here's some of that pattern paper with a little stamp on it. So just things for her to journal on. This is another, because this was so big, I ended up sewing and putting together different pieces of paper. So a lot of times there's a change, there's a transition from one paper to another. Different sizes, different colors, so forth. And here you can see where I sewed it. And this is wallpaper sample. I found a book at a thrift store of wallpaper samples, so I use that a lot. And here's another card I was just experimenting with. Again, I used some really sort of modified gesso that had a lot of joint compound in it, so it's got a real rough kind of texture to it. You could probably do chalk on it. And then I just sprayed some paints on it just to get a nice color, and she can journal on the back. And that slips in here. You know, because the pages, again, are different sizes and shapes and so forth, I did a lot of odd pockets in places too. And used a lot of things up, you know. Again, this is a jelly printing on deli paper right here that I used as a ribbon, sort of, or, you know, just used it as a binding on the side. And I accidentally did it on the wrong side, but I really like the feel and the look of it. So that was perfect. And then, again, just some jelly printing and a little card to journal on, papers that have been put together inside of envelope that you can write on, a little stamping. This is a little book that I made, and just sort of took some punchinella and put some gold paint through it, and then I stenciled on the inside and stamped on the inside. Laugh, love, live. Just a little book, and she can always put things in it. Again, another quote, Albert Einstein was one of her heroes, her favorite people when she was in high school. Play is the highest form of research, especially appropriate since she's got 2 little girls. Again, just paper to journal on, stamping, and lace sewing on here. Sorry, I have a really bad shoulder, and when I move it where I'm not supposed to, it hurts. A little wince in my voice. Unleash your creativity. Again, just a little place to journal on. And then an envelope that I stamped on, and inside the envelope is a secret special. This is a picture of her when she was little, probably about 5 years old, playing dress up in an old house that we had. And then just some some tea-dyed paper, a little scrap of paper on it to make a tab. And so I'm going to tuck that in here. That'll be a surprise for her. I took my granddaughter, my 4-year-old granddaughter, to Walmart one day. I had to get some hardware, something or other. And I let her pick out colors from the color paint aisle. So she helped me pick out different colors. And this is just some painting paper the kids had. And I jelly printed on this side, and she can write on this side. And here's some trash. My daughter's collecting trash paper the kids bring home. So just something, stick in there she can write on, or just a memory. Again, jelly printing, but it's light enough she can write on. It's got a nice texture to it. And that's just stuck in there with a little holder tag I made. And just a tea box. I cut down gold paper, corrugated trash that I picked up. There's some lace that I stapled on. So trying to make it a little bit grungy and, just, I think, just sort of, down home kind of style. And here's an envelope I cut down, jelly printed, and stuck a little bit. This is some jelly printing paper on jelly paper that I did. I really like that. And this one stuck. Oh dear. Well, here's a couple of tags. Awaken, just a little paper clip, adorned paper clip, and another stamp, and some sewing, just things you can write on or use as bookmarks. Here's another little jelly printed book that she can put her own things in it this time. And my hands are shaking. So that's what that is. Let's see if we can get this out of here. I think I may take a break in a little bit and do another part of this. I thought I could get through a little bit more of it at a time, but I think I'll take a break in a minute or two. This is a tag. I'm very pleased. I looked at all your tags and don't remember who made these, but I copied a lot of different people. This again is polymer clay. I made my own buttons. Again, it's really hard to find vintage buttons here, so sometimes I just make my own. And I inked the edges with vintage photo distress ink, and this has just had tissue paper on it, and just been textured. And then it gets a little band on there, and this is just a piece of scrap paper I just stuck in there. I might stick another piece you can actually write on. And then on the back I made a little pocket. This is something I'd cut out and put on there, and stamped it again. Here's a little sort of booklet she can write in. So there we go. Okay, I think we're going to take a break right here and come back in a little bit and do the next part because my hands are shaking a lot. I'll be back later. Thank you.